Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with Aneesa from the Challenge 40 Battle of the Eras. Aneesa, if we know anything in 40 seasons of the challenge, it's that you can't depend on Johnny Bananas to get you out of a bind. So, what bothered you, or were you bothered that him and Laurel threw you and Derrick in, or did you expect that?
I mean, when I knew it was between Jordan and myself, I didn't really see us getting out of it. I didn't see Johnny putting his ass on the line for us either. I'm not offended by it, but I'm not surprised.
Did him and Jordan have something going in? It seemed like they did.
Now that I've watched it back, I mean, while I watched it on the shore, I didn't think so, but now I kind of want to call Jordan after tonight's episode and ask him. Maybe I'll call him before, I don't know. But I would like to know because he clearly knows Cheyenne's name. So,
And he implies in the diary room that he doesn't outright say it, but it's implied.
yeah,
Well, it was a stacked group of targets, no matter who you had to go up against, but you end up with Jenny, who's like some sort of like physical specimen.
hmm,
And then you go in and you almost beat her. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat. You're one of the elimination OGs. So talk
thanks.
about your mindset heading into that elimination.
Well, we walked in and I'm like, oh my God, I've played Jax before. And she was like, what Jax? And I'm like, perfect, amazing. Then I'm like, oh, we got to sprint and collect them. And I'm looking at her and I'm looking at myself and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Uh, and then we started playing and I was like, oh, I keep making these baskets and this is a 7 second sprint that I can totally do. I think I underestimated my own self, like doing this. Uh, and I think that like, I mean, well, whatever, I can't talk about editing, but it was close and I was ahead of her at the end. Like if I would have caught that last one, that was it.
Yeah, I mean, they show you had like the last three, and then you just missed that ball, and she's like,
I'm aware. I'm
she's
aware
healed
that I
over.
just missed it. It kept me up at night for a little bit. But it was one of the most beautiful things, and I wish they would have showed more of just like everyone just finally giving me my flowers. Like it was a really good performance. It lasted for a long time.
I was gonna ask, how long are you actually out there? Because
An
they
hour,
obviously
I don't
can't show
know.
it.
An hour. Like I wish I would have picked up more than one. I think that that would have made it a little bit easier in the beginning. But you really just got to like feel it out. Like the guys finished in like 10 minutes. I mean, we were going for a while, but it was a good show. I really respect Jenny. So it was win or lose, I would have felt okay. Jenny always supports me and champions for me. So it's nice to be supported by a lot of these women on the show. It's hard to dislike any of them.
Yeah.
And, the women are stacked all around. We just have a lot of strong women this season. So I just hope that, it lets people know not to sleep on me because I am an athlete. And um, if it were anyone, I mean, it just shows you anybody can be beat or close to being beat that, you know,
And speaking of Derek took out Horatio, the youngest guy in the house. So you seem genuinely happy about that. So what was it like to see him come out on top?
well, I felt like our Eric couldn't lose another person.
Yeah.
And I love Derek. We've known each other since I was like 24. Um, he's a good guy, and I know how much he wants to be here. Not saying Horacio doesn't want to be here. I love Horacio too. He's like we always joke around at house. Like I think he's such a good time. I really respected him after I respect him after Ride or Dies. He was always a man of his word. He always respected, people that were straight shooters and good play. So I like both of them. I mean, clearly differently, but Derek's my babe, and I know he had a baby on the way, and I just felt like we just got thrown in the sand, and it just feels really good to win one right after that.
And he had made that diagram. He tried so hard to
Oh
stay
my
up.
God, he tried so hard. It was a good diagram, though. It wasn't what you would think from like Derek. It was like well thought out, well put together. And I don't think anyone expected it, not even production, for him to be like, wait a second, let me pull this out and show you what this looks like. And we will see if that diagram is accurate.
What did you think when you initially got there and you find out it's this team dynamic and you're Era One, the oldest team? You guys have battle wounds. CT got laid out in this last challenge. He's hobbling around.
He'll be fine.
You tore, I think, almost every ligament in your body.
I have not. I broke an ankle because I was blocking CT and our team still won. I dislocated a shoulder. That's totally fine. And I tore my ACL and my meniscus. But if you think of like any professional player, football player, whatever, this is like an easy injury that occurs a lot. But I think because I'm a woman and I'm older and I was just like out of out of 20-ish shows, I've gotten hurt 3 times. Like it's not, you bounce back.
Well, and you're coming off of like rehab. Did you feel like that almost made you stronger going into this? A lot of people coming.
1000%.
Yeah.
I trained so much. I ran, I was doing everything that I could. I really pushed myself to do the things that I've wanted to do or been scared to do. I think Jordan had a lot, not I think, I know Jordan had a lot to do with uh, how I performed on the off season, how much I pushed myself. And then when it came to the elimination, there were two voices I clearly wanted to hear. One was Jordan's, and I asked him for that. And of course, Tori, but she can't help herself when I'm in there to scream. So I left it up to my buddies to, keep me going. And they did. They were amazing.
Well, this week's Daily Challenge was trivia, so I want to talk about a little bit of your trivia. Record for the most flagship challenge seasons competed in by a female, most eliminations competed in, most elimination wins, most eliminations losses. If you've won and lost the most, you've been in too many damn times. I mean, what?
Thank you.
And probably the one you hate the most finals without winning, four. What are you the most proud of?
Being on it for this damn long.
Yeah.
um, I feel like I was people, loved me or hated me back then because I just didn't give a shit. I wasn't scared of anything. And now it's not even that. Like I thought I had something to prove then, and I still feel like that sometimes. I just in your 40s, like just care less. Like I already know who I am. There is like I'm not trying to figure it out. Um, but I think perseverance, like I think people after not winning, they'd like give up. And for me, that just doesn't make any sense. You get right back out on the field and you play again. And I think the resilience, I think all of that is important to show, especially like the older we get, like we are capable of
Yeah.
doing so much. So I'm happy that I've been here this long. I'm happy that I'm supported by a lot of people I know and people I don't. And, it keeps me going.
What's the hardest? Because you've been through all these experiences, going home early, going home right before a challenge or final, or losing a final.
Um, I clearly, I mean, you've watched the episode. I cared more about how nappy my weave was than I was going home. Like I was so excited to like get my hair done. It I hadn't like gone through so much, being there. I mean, I was there for almost a month, but like you don't see that. But being there for 10 weeks and losing right before the final is the most gut wrenching one because it just kept happening over and over and over and over again. And when I look at the state of, ride or dies being like 94 hours of doing that on a rolled ankle and probably having my ACL torn before I even got in the pit with Nani in the sand. Um, and then looking at like a 5 mile final that I could have ran on, Inferno 3 is that's the annoying part of like how many wins I could have probably had.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't think that I thought I deserved it. I don't think that I had the confidence or like I don't know what it was, but I don't know. I was really hard on myself back then. And now I think I just show myself, grace.
When they don't show this at the end of every episode, they did it on the first one, but so when you leave, you get to rank people. Who's like one or two or three people that you gave the highest score to? Who did you want to see do well at the end?
I gave Tori clearly a high score. Casey got a high score, Josh got a high score. Uh, Even Cara got like middle of the grounds, like pretty good score considering like this was our first season that we got along, we talked, we had fun together. So I couldn't give her a 5, but she was ranked fairly high, you know. Uh, yeah, and I didn't know how the final was going to go, and I wanted the women to succeed.
How do you feel
Some
like
of them.
how do you feel like since you started so many seasons ago, the challenge has evolved? I mean, do you think it's like what's the biggest change?
Um, the amount of alcohol we have in the house.
It's lower, right? Is it less?
Yeah, no, we used to just have it on the counter, but we also didn't like drink it that much because, you know, we had challenges and stuff. Like it was just, I don't know, it was different. But you know, I think we still have fun. I think we had more fun. I think the show was more based on the reality aspect than the sport aspect of it. Now being recognized as a fifth sport, I think it's taken more seriously. The stakes are higher. It's a different game.
When you look back at that girl in the real world Chicago, I mean, could you
Mhm.
imagine that how much MTV would be part of your whole life going forward, and how much has this changed the trajectory of your life just to be part of this challenge family?
I mean, yeah, if somebody said 20 years later, you're still going to be doing this, or 22 years later, I'm like, you're lying. But they weren't. And I would have never, ever thought, I thought I was going to be a teacher or something. I never thought that this was going to be my life.
If you were to go back into the next challenge and it was pairs, who would be your number one male draft pick and who would be your number one female draft pick if it was either or?
I would go back with Jordan. We would like to run it back again. I think that I can give him and myself, especially myself, so much more and such a better chance. Um, I felt really safe with him, even though he got on my damn nerves. We're both Virgos, and it can get really, really messy. But it's also like one of, I don't know, I don't want to get emotional, but it taught me so much about myself. Whew, that man does. I don't know what it is about that one thing, but yeah. Girl wise, I would love to do a friends one, even though Tori and I are we did Champs for Stars together, and we were talking about it yesterday, like how we thought we could do it, and we were just awful together. As much as I would love to work with her, maybe like on a team setting because we're good in a team. I would love to be partnered with Emily.
Yeah.
I think that uh there's a level-headedness and a calmness about her, but then there's like just this brute strength. She's just so wonderful.
Yeah, I
And
was Oh, go ahead.
also I love Aviv. I just met her for the first time and we really click. I like people that I could be like safe with and know that like, you know, they're gonna give everything in their power towards something. Their blood, sweat, and tears. So yeah, those are probably my picks.
Yeah, it's such a fun season. I love seeing Emily come back, Aviv, these people that we haven't seen in quite a while. So it was fun to
Mm-hmm.
see everyone come back together.
Yeah.
We're out of time, but you know, as a challenge fan from the beginning, you're one of the most fun to watch. I'm always excited to see when you're on there. So sorry
Thank you.
you're on this early and talking to me this early, but thanks for hanging out with Gold Derby today.
It's 2:30 in the afternoon here, so it's okay.
All right. Thanks,
Uh,
Anissa.
Nice meeting you.